guys, welcome to the 6th video in the development videos for my game Soul Invictus. If you like what you see, please wishlist my game on Steam, check out the devlog in the links below. Today I'm going to be talking about formations, probably a bit of the design concepts around them, a little bit around design choices around player souls and characters and kind of the difference between them and how it all works. And then at the end of the video I'll be showing you kind of the game over screen and sort of the main objective failing effectively and us losing the game. Okay, so I think the first thing to maybe touch on is a little bit about the design of souls, because I think what will happen is I'll talk a little bit about the design concepts of souls, talk a bit about the design concepts of formations, show you the formations, and at the very end it'll be quite quick, but I'll cycle through some of the characters in formation so you can see kind of what I'm meaning around the souls and things like that, and then also get a viewpoint on different characters, etc. And then we'll show the game over screen. Okay. Right. So what I'm going to do is sort of bring up my inventory screen. So as you can see on the left hand side here, I'm sort of holding a mallet. I've got a copper short sword and a torch and an axe. And if I quickly talk about souls, and actually I might do the cycle now quickly. So basically what's happening is every character in the game is basically the same. They're all a character, they're all the same prefab, they've just got a character model underneath them. They've got all the same sort of situations and sort of controllers and things like that on them. So effectively every character is playable. Some will have different AI patterns, some will have different behaviours around AI, but essentially it's all the same. And it's sort of keyed off who your character is and what's in the sort of database around other characters that are playable and not playable. Now what this means really is that it's quite easy for me to update all the models in the game and all the characters in the game quite easily, and you can play any of them. And actually, you know, from a conceptual point of view, it's quite clear. I can basically put things that are related to the player on what I call the player's soul, and that player's soul is transferable between characters. And then I put things related specifically to any characters just on the character themselves, so that every character can potentially have the same abilities as everyone else really. And then obviously on top of that I'll just apply restrictions and different things on the different characters such that they're all different. But the concept idea is that in theory you could play Bridget, you could play a thug, you could play the leader Grom that's going to appear in a minute, and that's how it would work. For now what I've got is a little bit of a nassy debug cycle kind of button. That basically means I can, as a debugger, cycle through the players, or sorry, cycle through the characters specifically, as you as player. Now, all it does at the moment is just let you sort of roam as that player, doing the same thing in the AI as what they're doing. It doesn't change the behaviour that they're doing. All it does is let you sort of line up the camera and see their inventory and that kind of thing. So to quickly do it with Bridget now, and then later on we can have a cycle through maybe the formation of the guys and what they're doing when they're attacking. Okay, so if I press the cycle character, so this is Bridget here, and she's getting a bit confused because she's trying to follow me and I'm me, so I'm just basically stood still. But basically that's Bridget. She's got less stuff than me. She's got a torch and an axe, and that's similar to all the characters at the moment. Bridget will eventually have better weapons. I think think what I'm going to do is make her a staff wielder. So basically, sort of skewing sort of bladed weapons as a nun. She's just going to be using a staff, but I think she's going to be pretty strong as a staff wielder. But that's what I'll be looking at moving forward. But for now, she's just got the same axe as everyone else in the kind of AI. Okay, and that's basically the debug cycle. So I can go forwards and I can go backwards, and then Bridget comes back to me, and my inventory is back to normal again. Okay, so that's what I mean by sort of player souls and characters, and maybe sort of get the concept a bit more when we're later cycling through some of the other NPCs that are over there in the distance. Okay, so the next topic I want to talk about is formations, and it's quite complex, so I'm going to sort of spend a bit of time on it. So the way I've sort of developed formations is for players to, well, firstly for characters to be able to form up in a party, to be able to attack en masse. It's not just a big muddled group, it's effectively a fairly restricted, strict kind of pattern. And it's important to me because there's two, I guess, major formations, and it's happening now actually. So why don't I go over there and we can talk about it a bit more at the end. Hold on. So if I put debug mode on, there you go, you can see the formation they're trying to achieve, and that there's more people joining and they've got more targets. So so we're about now and they'll be ready to go. So leader Grom over there at the front, he's saying getting ready to go. The gang is all here and they're moving out. And generally they're sticking together in a group. There's a little bit more work I need to do to make the relative speed faster on people that are lagging behind, but effectively what they're doing is just sort of forming up, moving forward, and then forming up again, and then what they're going to do is attacking that pattern we talked about before, where you can see them all standing in the position that they need to be to hit this stones. So I talked about cycling through, so I'm going to do that quickly. That's Bridget, there's tug 9, oh, tug 10, 13, there we go. So here we are hitting them. You can see they've got their axe and a torch equipped, and the monument health is going down at the top. And as you can see at the top left, they're all in a party with leader Grom as leader and formation happening. Oh, and the bugs have come up. And what I'll do is I'll cycle back to me if I can. There we go. Okay, and there's the game over screen, and as you can see the guys are just standing around the monument now cheering. And the game over screen sort of talks about it a bit more. And it hints at retrying the level. I've turned that off for now because my save and load game was compatible with my previous version of the game before I put in multiplayer and voxel play, the different terrain editor. So I'll be reinstating that again soon when I've got it all working. So I didn't have much time to talk about formations. I think basically what the idea around formations is that to start with, it's going to be all the characters can be able to move in formation, and I suppose back in the kind of time that this was set, basically the Romans were kicking ass around battle strategy and formations and tactics, and you'd have the famous testudo of the tortoise that they'd form with their shields and things like that. So I'd like to represent some part of that and the inheritance of that downwards when they're leaving to the other factions in the land, and then also the Saxons turning up, and there's big sort of onus on shield walls and things like that if you sort of read about the history, and kind of the impact of moving and fighting in a war, and what that means in terms of defense and things like that. So I'd like to incorporate all of that into the formations that we're doing. And equally, my thought is that actually when it's a bit more mature than it is at the moment, it's sort of got to a point where I'm happy with the NPC behavior, I want to be able to have abilities for the character, for the player to be able to do that too, and have your ally NPCs joining you in the battle, but also potentially having other players being able to sign up to the formation, so to speak, such that they pull in all their mates and you end up with a big wall, but also you're sort of moving in concert and as part of a team rather than individually as sort of a mess of small cohorts of people. So that's what I'm kind of looking at for the long term of formation stuff. So we talked about sort of the idea, I guess, how it works. I didn't have much time again to speak about that, but basically there's an anchor that's in the middle, and similar to the follow steering point that I talked about in the previous video, the entire formation keys off that anchor, and basically the anchor does a behavior based on the speed and direction of the next target, or the leader's target basically, and from that anchor it sort of determines what the overall formation mass should be doing. And that anchor speeds up and slows down depending on how many people are outside the formation, i.e. kind of not walking in optimal position, and how many are walking in optimal position, and that's calculated based on basically a center of gravity calculation, depending on what a static kind of formation should look like, where the main point of gravity is for the number of people that you've got. And then I suppose around that, the idea is that when moving, so it's quite simple from a static point of view, forming up in one position, but when moving you want to try and adhere to that formation as much as possible. And that's a tricky thing because everyone moves at different speeds, there's different obstacles that get in the way of different people, etc. So I did spend a lot of time on this earlier in the year, or earlier last year, and basically the way to get around that kind of problem is to speed up and slow down each individual person as well as the anchor, depending on where they are in kind of how close they are to the optimal position they need to be in to form the formation. So hopefully kind of gave a bit of a flavour of what I've done, and obviously there's a bit more work to be done around it and find out what that bug was, for example, but the concept's there, and I'll be looking to develop it and push it forward as much as possible. And as I said, as soon as you get the abilities in there, I'll be looking at trying to have abilities to be able to form people up around you, which would be really cool. And I might even tie that into voice commands potentially if I'm feeling a bit crazy, a bit off the wall in terms of you say form up and then the party around you form up and that kind of thing. Okay, I think that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. It was a little bit more design concepty than I was hoping originally, but I did cover a lot of things in the last video, and it was my longest video yet, last video, so I wanted to keep this one a bit shorter. Have a good day, guys. Wishlist my game if you're interested, and have a look at my devlog below for more detail. Thanks all. Speak in the next video. Bye.